Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the PlayStation Theatre here in Manhattan, New York, ahead of a huge night of boxing this Saturday, live and exclusive on HBO across America and Sky Sports in the UK, and also broadcast all over the world. We have a huge fight card at the Nassau Coliseum on Saturday night, and we can't wait to get underway. It's a pleasure to be here in the US promoting on a great night of boxing with some incredible talent. Some of the best in the division, some of the most up-and-coming young fighters in the division, some local favourites and stars as well. To create any big event and to keep the sport of boxing moving, you have to have the right partners. And of course, we thank HBO Boxing and Sky Sports as well. But I want to bring up to the stage firstly to talk Brett Yormark from Brooklyn Boxing, just doing an incredible job for the sport of boxing in New York City, and Anthony Cantanzaro as well, who has been the bane of our life for the last few weeks, but works incredibly hard to make sure that boxing continues to thrive in the state and across America as well. It is a joy to work with proactive venues who love and share the passion of boxing with us. So first of all, I'd like to welcome to the dais Brett Yormark from Brooklyn Boxing.
Thank you, Eddie. I'll keep this short. We're very excited about our second night of boxing at the Coliseum. We opened the building last April. If you have not been there before, you're going to love it. It's world class. I kind of describe it as a mini Barclays, but great amenities. And looking forward to seeing everyone there Saturday night. Obviously, Saturday night, for me personally, is a special night. This man to my right, not only is he the face of Brooklyn Boxing, but he's part of our extended family. So Danny, welcome to Long Island, welcome to the Coliseum. We're excited to have you there. It's somewhat fitting that the Coliseum should be his second home away from home, Barclays being one, because that's where he's been spending most of his time training. So excited, Danny, that you'll be with us Saturday night and headlining the card. Also, Luis, we look forward to welcoming you to Long Island. I feel somewhat connected to Luis. My brother is the president of Rock Nation, and obviously Rock Nation is a big part of many of the things we do, not only in Brooklyn but in Long Island. So looking forward to seeing you on Saturday night. I would be remiss if I did not also welcome another big Brooklynite in Jarrell Baby Miller. Nice to have you with us in Long Island. Obviously you've been a figure at Barclays Center, coming to a lot of our events, so we're thrilled to have you with us, and good luck this weekend. Obviously, you've got a pretty sizable opponent in Mariusz. So Mariusz, welcome to Long Island and to the Coliseum. We look forward to seeing you. And just a quick welcome to some of the other fighters on the card. They've been very active in helping to promote this event and in selling tickets, from Cletus Selden to Victor Dimash to Tommy Rainone, who is fighting for the second time. We look forward to having you at Long Island this weekend, as well as Tyrone James. Obviously, Eddie, we thank you for launching Matchroom Boxing USA in Long Island, so thank you for letting us be a big part of that. Peter Nelson, HBO. I was told today that the last HBO show at the Coliseum was 1980, and it was Jerry Cooney. So it's been a long time since you've been there, so welcome back, okay? Looking forward to seeing everyone on Saturday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brett. Quite right, a stacked card of boxing from start to finish. And our first televised fight on Saturday on HBO is a great fight, and it's going to bring you plenty of action. Before we talk about that fight, again, someone that's been instrumental in the launch of Matchroom Boxing USA, and of course, without him and the support of his network, we wouldn't be here on Saturday night. So a huge welcome to say a few words, Peter Nelson from HBO.
Thank you, Eddie, and I want to thank all the fighters on this show and their various teams, their coaches, their trainers, their families, for bringing us to this great event that we're going to have on Saturday. I want to thank Eddie, of course, for putting together a terrific show. I want to thank Brett, the work you guys do. You're all consummate professionals, and it's a privilege to be back realigned with Brooklyn Boxing. I want to thank all the different promoters who are involved in this show. There are a lot of them, including Rock Nation in the main event, Dimitri Salita, Joe DeGuardia. There are a lot of other people from the business world of boxing here. I'm not exactly sure why some of you are even here, but I know I should be thanking you, so thank you. Keep doing what you guys do. It's great. It's great when people are working together. That's where the great fights get made. That's what leads to a better experience, not just for our network, but for the fans. And that's what the fighters want. The fighters want to be able to fight the best, whatever that means, wherever they can do it. We have always prided ourselves of being the home of great champions for over 40 years. And I think what you see on this dais is the next step in terms of the next generation of boxing. And that's part of the great excitement of this show. This begins a run for us towards the end of the year at HBO. 5 of the next 6 Saturdays we're going to have live boxing. So we have, I think in the words of Shirley Caesar, who said that we have greens, beans, heavyweights and middleweights, you name it. And we're privileged at starting with this show, where Danny Jacobs is taking yet another big step in his career against Luis Arias, an undefeated fighter with a lot to prove as well as a lot to say. If any of you has taken the time to watch, if you haven't yet, please do, the feature that we did on Daniel Jacobs and his career. You can find that, Daniel Jacobs' My Fight, on HBO, on demand, on HBO Go, on HBO Now. Again, I want to thank all the fighters and their teams. Our start time is 10 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you all there on Saturday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. As you said, a huge amount of other promotional companies involved with this show, and we thank them so much for their involvement, and we look forward to working with them a lot over the future. The first of those televised fights, just a wonderful matchup between Cletus, the Hebrew Hammer Selden, a Long Island favourite. If you haven't seen this guy box, don't miss it, be in your seat, and you'll only need the edge of it on Saturday night, because this guy brings the action non-stop in a great fight against Roberto Ortiz on the Golden Boy side. And I was watching Ortiz in the gym yesterday, hitting the pads, looking in great shape. It's going to be a wonderful fight to kick off the night. And firstly, I'm going to ask Joe DeGuardia to come over and say a few words and introduce his fighter on behalf of Star Boxing.
Thank you, Eddie. Welcome to New York. Look, it's a pleasure to be here. As Eddie had mentioned, this first fight that's going to open up the show at 10 p.m. at the Nassau Coliseum is really going to be a barn burner. You got 2 guys that just keep coming forward, coming in, winging punches, and both are bangers. Cletus Selden, Roberto Ortiz. Ortiz is 35-1. Right, his only loss is to Lucas Matisse, a real warrior-type fighter, exciting fighter, and he's fighting against our own Cletus Selden, the Hebrew Hammer. Okay, Cletus has really been making a lot of waves in Long Island. He's been selling out the Paramount every show, and now it's great that we're going to be coming to the Nassau Coliseum. It's been his dream, and it's been our dream to get him on over there, and to be on the greatest network of HBO. So really tune in at 10 p.m. If you're not there at the Coliseum. And by the way, you should be at the Coliseum because it's going to be a tremendous night of boxing. It's a great place to watch the fights and support Long Island boxing and Brooklyn boxing. In any event, at this point in time, I'll introduce Cletus Selden. As I said, thrilling fighter, right? Moniker of the Hebrew Hammer. He's a real throwback to the 1920s when the Jewish fighters really controlled boxing. They were the real warriors. He's got the same style as the 1920s fighters, and also if you take a look at him, he dresses like him almost. Right? I'm real pleased to introduce him. He's really earned it. He's been fighting some real battles at the Paramount. Undefeated, 20-0, and 16 knockouts. Cletus, the Hebrew Hammer, Selden.
Wow, I finally have graduated. Oh my God, I put on so many shows at the Paramount, more than anybody has ever had. and now I'm graduating into the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum on Veterans Day. So you know I'll be wearing my red, white, and blue bandana and supporting all the veterans and all our troops. If you guys don't know, I am the Long Islander who's been raising hell here on Long Island for the past 6 years of my career, and I'm trained by Pete Brodsky and his disciples here on Long Island and West Palm Beach, Florida. If you guys in South Beach, Florida need a trainer, this is the best guy in the business, by far the #1 trainer I have ever seen. On to Star Boxing has 100% have raised me the correct way. They brought me up, nobody wanted me, built me up, and made me into the powerhouse that I am now, and ready to make my HBO debut, all thanks to him and HBO and Peter Nelson. Thank you. You guys are going to see plenty of me for the next 5 years. I'm going to give you 5 years of me, and then I'm going to call it that. So I hope you guys enjoy what you're going to get on Saturday against Roberto Ortiz, a tough Mexican-style, typical Mexican fighter, which is going to go, in my opinion, I'm going to wear him down and take him out within 5 rounds. I've always done it. I've always taken out guys that I said I am, and I am very proud and honored to be part of this entire event. So thank you guys, and see you Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, baby.
Claytus, just to let you know, after those 5 years, you got a job with Matchroom Boxing USA. 100%. Characters and personalities is what we need in this sport of boxing, and there's one right there, and boy can he fight.